Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Wednesday night, our last show of 2022. It's the Bo and Joe Show. I am here, of course, with my partner, Bodine Sanders. Hello, Bodine. How are you?
Joe, how are you? You should be excited today because you won the week of picks.
Oh my gosh. It's unbelievable. I told you I'd be coming alive. I told you there'd be a comeback in my future. Tom Brady and I are coming back. Uh,
Well, congratulations. I look forward to sharing this information. Oh my God, my hat is all jacked up. Sharing this information with our audience. But you did good, kid. You did good.
All right, perfect. Well, let's backtrack. How was the holiday weekend? Let's talk about that. Uh, of course, here in New York, the weather was extreme. I mean, there was a severe tragedy, obviously, in Buffalo. I'm sure many people have heard about that. And, um, I really want my colleagues in disaster recovery are out there on the scene, out there on the scenes is really horrific out there, and that's really sad. Of course, that it occurred over the holiday weekend. So, anybody who's suffering through the weather, who lost loved ones, our hearts go out to you there, and I hope that everybody stayed safe and warm. Luckily for me, I had a very nice holiday, uneventful, but nice nonetheless. How about you?
Oh yeah, it was uneventful for me. I don't have any family around here, so everybody's all spread out. So it was. I took the opportunity to get some work done and watch some sports, talk some sports. I actually went over to a buddy of mine who saw me during my walk through the neighborhood, and you might say, was I walking in this cold weather? There was one day, it had to be Christmas Eve. It was pretty warm out compared to those other days, and he caught me walking, and he honked his horn and said, "I'll pick you up just before the Eagles game," because he had a few guys over at his place to watch the Eagles Cowboys game. And so, but that's the only thing I did. I watched the game with a couple of buddies from the area, neighborhood, and just enjoyed, relaxed. But got some work done. FaceTime, text messages, phone calls, all the above, and yeah, so it was good. But yeah,
Good.
I second that motion in terms of that one. I mean, that storm of a few miles or so south, and you would have been right there. And then obviously one more state south, and I would have been in it. So, sure, you wish for a, a snowy Christmas for the kids because that's the ultimate, right?
It
But
is.
that was that. What do you call it? Not a nor'easter. Something bomb. What do you call it? What was the name of it?
I think what they call what's called a bomb cyclone.
A bomb
Um,
cyclone. Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah.
that
So
was terrible. And
body
I
count
think,
still they're adding it up. Yeah, go ahead.
you and I think the real tragedy of course, it's tragic in any instance, but many of these people were traveling. They, one girl in particular, a young 22-year-old woman, lived in North Carolina. She had just relocated. She was trying to help out her father. You just don't understand the magnitude of a storm. They may not even known it was coming. I mean, people couldn't see a foot in front of them. I mean, there was this one story. This elderly couple. I don't know if you heard it. They were stuck in their car for 9 hours, not realizing because they couldn't see that they were stuck right outside of Marriott. And eventually, they I don't know when the storm cleared, they realized it, and luckily they received shelter. Both of them were elderly. They had um, some
They were probably
health
dehydrated.
health
Yep.
issues. They had some health issues, and fortunately, they were able to pull themselves out of it and get inside. So there were some silver linings, but of course, there was a lot of devastation as well.
Well, there was a great story I heard. There was some a group 10 or 12 from Korea visiting because a Korean couple got married. So they had family obviously in town. and they were on a tour bus, and the bus got stuck, and a family, a husband and wife couple, went out to help them, to say, hey, you can shovel all you want, but you're not going anywhere. Get in our house. And they literally put those folks up for 2 days.
Wow, that's amazing.
And so they learned how to cook some Korean food. The Koreans learned how to cook some basic American food. They built a relationship, and they're going to be friends for life, because those folks could have died. They were literally stuck. And then, if you got the plows plowing, you could be buried in a snowplow. I mean, you know what I mean? So, yeah. So there's some great stories.
Yeah. And I don't know if anybody's ever been to Buffalo, but I certainly have. And snow in Buffalo is really unlike any other place in this country. I mean, they have that lake effect snow. I've been out there after many disasters, and it's just a different climate. Whereas even here, we can get some nor'easters, but it does not compare to what happens in Buffalo. So my heart really goes out to those guys. Let's welcome George into this show. I also want to welcome Dragon Vipers in the house. It's good to see you, Randy. We miss you. It's great to see you. So we hope you had a nice holiday. How about you, George?
Dragon.
How was your holidays? It looked great. You sent us some pictures behind the scenes, and it looked pretty impressive.
Yep, that was my Christmas present right there. I made sure I was getting his reaction to his bike, and after keeping that a secret for a couple months, it was like, well, all the hard work paid off, and that's pretty much we could have ended Christmas right there. He was such in shock and awe. He just couldn't believe that he actually got the bike that he wanted, and it was just too cool to see. And it's still, I'll even still sneak another peek at the video just to catch his reaction. It's just awesome. And he's still just speechless about it. He's anxious to ride it though.
Noah showed up.
Yeah. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, Bryce. Merry Christmas, buddy. We're glad to hear that. You got some presents of your dreams. Your dad shared some photos with you. It looked like you had a great day, and it made our Christmas a little bit brighter too, seeing how happy you were. So,
hey Bryce, I need a bigger smile with that Villanova beanie hat on, buddy. There you go. That's the kind of smile I want to see. Glad you had a good Christmas.
Oh wow. Okay, so Randy, he's like a kid himself. He got a Dallas Cowboy football signed by Dak Prescott, certified for Christmas. That's pretty impressive. I think Crispy Bacon is probably jealous behind the scenes, but
I bet he is.
So that's a great gift. So I'm glad to hear that, Randy. I would have liked to see your reaction to that. You should have had whomever gave you that send us a video of that too. That would have been a nice treat.
Yeah, let's hope he doesn't sell that thing. He holds on to it for a while. But if he's holding on to it until the Cowboys win a Super Bowl, he's going to be holding on to that thing a long time. Sorry, Randy. I'm just telling the truth.
So speaking of smiling, let's get into who did you say won? Who did you say won the picks this week, Pudgy? I want to make sure that George. I think George missed that. I think I'd like to recap that.
I didn't miss anything.
Well, listen, we all got to give a standing round of applause to Joe TB12, because she won the week with 13 wins. I was yep, 13 wins. She blew us out of the water, and I had 11, and Chris and G3 they tied for 10. Now here's what happened. We were at the Dallas Philly game. Joe had the lead 9. I had 8. Crispy Bacon had no. I'm sorry. We were all tied after the Dallas game. Crispy Bacon, G, and I, and Joe, you were at 10.
No.
And then all of a sudden, Miami loses. So we're all still at the same score. And then we get to the Rams game, and that's when G and Chris fell off. And Joe, you and I, we picked the Rams, so we were up one more game. And then Tom looks like he's going to lose. And what does he do anyway? He comes back and he wins, which gives you another point. Because we were all on Tampa. So realistically, the game was over at the Steelers-Raiders game. That's when you won it. Realistically, you won it there. But then you added points for the Rams game. You added points for the TB12, and then you added points for the Chargers. So you went from 10 to 13 very quickly.
Good news. Happy to hear. Well, I don't want to take too much pride, considering it's my only week of the season.
Oh, you better gloat while you better gloat while you can. This is a tough industry.
But,
you don't. It's like winning an NFL game. You don't win. You're not guaranteed to win every week.
That's true. That's true. So I want to be humble about it because I could be on the bottom of the pack next week, and I'll have to take the ribbing. I'll have to take the beating for it. So great. So there were some, a lot of good games again this week, right? I mean, it's really, it's really been an exciting season. I thought last season was exciting, but this season was exciting as well. So what did you think? Do we have any other news before we jump into I saw T.O. wants to come back. Did you see that? T.O. wants to come back into the game. I think he wants to play for the Cowboys. He hasn't played since, I think somebody said 2010. I don't know. That seems unlikely, but.
Yeah, it's a distraction. Yeah, he's healthy enough to play, but is someone going to give up a roster spot for a kid who is young, who's up and coming, who's going to continue just to sign T.O. for 1 year? I doubt it.
And did you hear? Yeah, I doubt it. And did you hear the other rumors that, somebody's talking this could put you back in the driver's seat again, that Gronk, there are discussions that potentially Gronk could be coming back next season. So.
Well, again.
No, sorry. I already nullified all those rumors before. And after a little interview that had been obtained just recently with Gronk admitting that he told the Lions that he was retired and the trade wouldn't go through. And 2 days later, the trade initiation fell off because he was retired and then unretired and stayed with the Patriots. Rob is actually looking at a investigation with the NFL right now because of it. So I wouldn't be holding any water to that at the moment. After that interview got leaked out, it was like, it's giving a small black eye right now onto Rob, and it is not the microscope that he wants right now. And this is not boding very well.
Well, G, give the folks the inside scoop that you have with the Gronkowski family. That way you can just, give them a little heads up.
I happen to be personal friends with the family through the Gronk, Gordy Sr. and Jr., because Jr. played locally here for our semi-pro ball team. And that's how I began my relationship with the family. Dan actually was with the Cleveland Browns for a cup of coffee and got to turn around and chat with him and befriend him as well as Chris. And even turn around and mention to Chris, ironically, it was like he was trying to get his ice shaker thing started. And I turned around and was like, well, that Shark Tank show looks good. And then, well, I'll be darned, wouldn't you know? I'm on Shark Tank. It was like, well, hey, strange things happen. But outside of all that, like I said, that's kind of my relationship with the family. I keep it on a pretty close but professional level as well, But yeah, that interview came out literally, I think, just within the past day or so, and it's starting to raise a couple red flags. So yeah, I wouldn't hold too much water with the Gronk rumors. And I was gonna say, I'm actually concerned after the way Brady even played this past week against a Cardinals team that just literally had no business even being in that game. I'm very concerned for what Tom is going to do after this season. I'm very concerned about it.
He hasn't played well in 5 games. Would you say 5 games or 6 games?
It's been this whole half of the season so far.
Yeah.
There is something off. I don't know whether it's off field or, I mean, his temper he's had some temper flare-ups before, but I mean, it is getting seriously documented hard this year, and there is something else that's going on. I can't really nail a finger on it. I don't know if it may be because of the system change with Arians moving up into the front office. I'm just really not sure, but there is something behind the scenes that he's not saying, and nobody else is really. It's like kept under lock and key, and it's like nobody in that locker room is saying a word about anything. But there's something going on, and I don't know. I just.
Well, I'm going to go back to what I.
But I mean, the divorce doesn't help. But I think there was something else even before the divorce announcement. There was something else that was going on.
I think the divorce plays a big part in it. I mean, I don't know if you remember, it's probably been a long time since any of us have been heartbroken, but it really wreaks havoc, and especially when your children are young. And I think that it impacts when you have something going on in your personal life of that magnitude, it impacts your work. And it also probably impacts your coworkers. So there might be something else going on. And, and it also was a distraction, right? His personal life was a distraction to the team, to the other players, to the front office, all that, especially when last year he was this golden child, and, you're relying on the quarterback to be the leader. So I think it's just a culmination of a lot of different things that really, in my opinion, probably emanate from the rifts in his personal life.
Well, and especially with the changes on the line, like I said, there's been the head coaching change too, and that changes philosophies, even though, you don't think that should be much of a change, but there really is. I mean, Bodine and I actually even had the conversation about Eric Bieniemy, waiting on Andy Reid. When Andy Reid decides within the next year or so to hang it up, that the team would literally get passed right on to Eric, and how the changes that would take effect, because, hey, he now would be in the driver's seat. And that's exactly what's kind of happened with Tampa, is Bruce Arians has officially left himself away from the team and is up in the front office and is more on the administrative side of things than the football side of things. That's a big difference.
Well,
his own philosophy and what he wants to bring to the table.
What I chime in on that is, and I agree with you, G3, what some people who may not follow football as closely as we all do is that Bruce Arians was a quarterback in his career, right?
Mm-hmm.
He just turned the team over, not to Byron Leftwich, who was a quarterback. He turned it over to a defensive guy. So there's 2 different philosophies right there.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. That could have something to do with it, right? So it's a soup, and it's a cornucopia of soup that's going on with Tom. But I think Tom is good enough to work it out if he wants to play another year. That's if he wants to play another year. We don't know. What we do know is he was prepared to retire and be a part owner of the Miami Dolphins. And when that big problem broke out, he said, I'm going back to football and leave that problem down further south. So we know he was seriously prepared to retire. But
yeah. But in my opinion, he does not want to go out this way.
Oh, sure. Nobody does.
Yeah, right. So he's going to do everything in his power to get himself in shape for next season. And I believe he'll give it one more go. I just don't think he wants this to be his legacy. But of course, he's got the playoffs. Things could turn around for him. Who knows? Before we go on, though, I want to say hi to Chardal. Hi. We haven't seen you. It's good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. It's great to see you. And we'll get to your Chardal's asking about our thoughts on Patrick Mahomes and Barry Sanders, and we'll get to those questions. But we're really talking about Tom Brady for a minute. I don't even know if there's anything more to say. Time will tell, right?
Yeah.
We're not fortune tellers.
I just don't want him going out as well. He got injured and then he's kind of forced out because of an injury. I hate to see athletes going out like that, especially as they get older. That's exactly what happens, is they suffer a career-ending injury, and it's like, well, then you're done. I'd rather see the athlete going out on his terms, and even doing those one-day contracts, which I'm very sure that Mr. Kraft would be like, yes, no problem. Here, sign the paper, no big deal, retire a Patriot, which I still believe is definitely all in his heart of hearts that that's what he would like to do. So that's just at this point in time, that is the big concern, is because when you have a lack of focus on football right now, like he does, it is putting a big target on his back, and it doesn't look good. And it's very bothersome. I mean, not that I'm saying, whether love or hate him, it's just that you can just almost see that picture starting to come into play. And that's just something I just don't want to see happen to him. I'd rather see him go out on his terms, healthy, and saying, yeah, I'm done.
Well, did Peyton Manning go out after a Super Bowl win?
Mm-mm.
Yes.
So it's, in other words, I was going to say the chance or the percentage or ratio of going out after a win is gotta be small. So you should take advantage of it when you can, right? Michael Jordan didn't do it. Shaq didn't do it. Kobe didn't do it. I mean, some of the greats have not had an opportunity. No, they may have had an opportunity. They just didn't do it.
Right.
As I said, Father Time and Mother Nature are undefeated. So you should take it when you can. And yes, he might do well in the playoffs, but that's no guarantee next year he's going to win a Super Bowl. So I would drop the mic. He's the winningest quarterback ever to play the game. He's got 7 rings? We had this conversation. See ya. Time to go live my life.
I just don't think he can do it. I mean, he's got a pretty big ego too. And
that's what's going to get him hurt.
Yeah.
That's what
I don't think he can do it.
And that's why I said I don't like it, because that's exactly the picture that's getting painted right there. Is he's going to sit there and think he has something to prove. Tom has nothing more left to prove.
Oh, he's got every record. He's almost got. Doesn't he have almost every record out there?
He has them all. He's past Drew Brees. He's past Peyton Manning. He has everything. There's nothing left. Literally nothing left that he needs to obtain.
But you know what? You say that, but think about it. He has to prove something to himself. I mean, that's what it is. This has nothing.
That's going to get him hurt. And that's what
it has nothing to do with the fans. It has nothing to do with us. But he's carrying something that he just can't put down. I mean,
well, I blame it all on Michael Jordan, because Michael was the one that had that conversation with him on that exclusive island that they played golf on after he won his first Super Bowl, and he has been on a mission ever since to be in that elevated level of, Michael Jordan-ish level. And he's accomplished that without a doubt. He's accomplished it, but sometimes you got to know when to walk away. And Joe, you're right. He has an ego, but a lot of players got egos. That's why they play it. And someone's looking to make a name for themselves. They're gonna, so somebody's gotta help Tom protect himself. That's probably what the problem was with his wife. She's like, dude, I want you to be able to golf. I want you to be able to walk. I want you to be able to dance with me. She wants to dance with her man.
Yeah. Well, the difference between Tom and other players with egos is that Tom has a power. Tom has a power and an influence that other players don't have, right?
Sure, absolutely.
And he's earned that. But I think that when he tries to convince somebody he can do it because he has done it, it's hard not to believe him.
Oh, absolutely. Totally agree.
We'll see what happens.
And he's got those 7 rings to prove it.
Yeah, he does.
Right? I just rewatched that commercial. Did you guys see that commercial from last year where it was a promo Hall of Fame commercial, and they had a cake it was like they were in a what do you call it? They're in the NFL. Roger Goodell was at the podium. It's like what do you call the award ceremony? No, they were
like the ESPYs or
they were like an award ceremony.
Yeah.
Roger Goodell's at the podium, and there's a big cake with a golden football on top. And what's the dude that eats the Skittles? He reached back. I'm telling you guys seen that commercial. He reaches back, grabs a hand chunk of cake, and then the football falls off the cake. And Mike Singletary screams, "Fumble!" And then it's like a big melee in this ballroom of professional football players.
I've seen it.
Right? You remember that?
Yeah.
So that's the kind of ego all these guys have, right? I just saw that commercial, and Tom's in it, right? And what's his name? The quarterback that used to be the quarterback of the Browns, and then he went to the Carolina Panthers. Now he's with the Rams.
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield is sitting next to Tom, and Baker says, "Tom, get in there." And he goes, "Hold these for me." And he pulls off every Super Bowl ring off both his fingers and like this, and it puts them in Baker Mayfield's hands. And Baker's like this, and he looks and goes, and he just smiles. I mean, his hands literally was filled with Super Bowl rings. So that's how incredible that dude's career has been. I love that commercial.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, so I'm not sure. What is Chardell asking our thoughts on Patrick Mahomes?
What's wrong with Patrick?
Right, I'm not sure what news he's talking about. So I haven't heard anything on unexpected. I took a peek at to see if there was any late breaking news. So Chardell, if you have something more specific, we'd be happy to talk about it. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Yeah, give us some more details.
Yeah, in the meantime, it's already 9:30. We better jump into the games. I mean, let's finish with college football, and then we'll jump right into the pros. Okay.
Because you know what this weekend is. This is New Year's Eve and New Year's weekend.
Bowls, right. Okay.
So we've got the Fiesta Bowl at 4:00. TCU ranked number 3 versus number 2 Michigan. I'm pulling for Michigan, 13-0 versus TCU, 12-1. The game is in Arizona, and then the second game is the Peach Bowl. Georgia number 1 versus number 4 Ohio State. And I think Georgia has somewhat of a slight advantage because it's in Georgia. But I'm sure they do. Yeah. And so who do you got, Joe? Who do you got?
All right. Well, I'm not really up. I'll say Georgia. I'll go with what you guys say. I'll take the home team. I'm probably going to defer to whatever you guys think. I don't.
So you're going to take Georgia over Ohio? You got Georgia over Ohio State. Who you got between Michigan and TCU, which is Texas Christian University?
I'm going to go with Michigan.
Okay. Those aren't bad picks.
All right.
Those aren't bad picks. Who you got, G?
Well, the common sense pick, of course, is Georgia. Ohio State has 7 healthy bodies coming back that have been out for the past 3 games.
Yeah.
All on defense, ironic.
Yeah.
Could make that 8 o'clock game a little bit more interesting. Not really sure. The Michigan TCU, Adam's a little nervous. And if Adam's nervous, one of my cohorts, that makes me a little nervous. He's thinking this game could actually go to overtime, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. But he is hoping that it is a Michigan win. But he is a little nervous. He's thinking that this could end up as an overtime ordeal, just because of the way TCU played. I mean, that's a pretty solid inside. So that is kind of scary when you think about that. But, hey, these 4 teams are in there for a reason. They were the ones that were totally undefeated, going into 4 weeks ago, and they all deserve to be there. So, yeah, I was going to say the crapshoot says Georgia versus Michigan 1 versus 2 going into January 9th. And, I think that's pretty much a given that's what we would expect to see. If it turns out that it happens to be a rematch of Michigan versus Ohio State, I won't do a show on the 9th because there will be everybody literally from my group watching that game. So, no, like I said, I think the common sense play here is Georgia and Michigan, though.
I think the ideal game for TV ratings would be Georgia versus Michigan. The second ideal game would be obviously Georgia versus TCU because of geography. The third game would be Michigan versus Ohio. And so
and Ohio TCU would be really weird.
That would be the fourth.
Yeah, that would be how the heck did that happen?
Yeah, that would be a Cinderella versus Goliath. And but I think more people would be interested in it because they'd spin it Cinderella versus Goliath, right? The Michigan Ohio State would be a rivalry that a lot of people would want to see, but those sideline fans, I don't think would tune in on a championship night.
And like I said, the 7 defensive players that are now healthy that were not involved in the Michigan game, it could play a little bit different role in making the game a lot closer.
Yeah.
But then again, who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe it would be a repeat butt whooping.
Like I said, the ideal game for geography-wise and TV ratings would be Georgia versus Michigan. I think the entire country would want to see that. So,
well, except the West Coast. The West Coast has no state.
Well, that's their problem. Produce better teams.
Right? Wow, he said it. I didn't.
Well, who's joining the Big Ten next year? USC and who?
USC and UCLA.
Okay, so there you go.
Who were also in the top 10.
There you go. There you go.
Big Ten in the top 10 this year.
Yep. So let's get to this week's games.
We got a lot of news about this week's games.
Well, before we do, I'm going to read the healthiest teams and the least healthiest teams. The healthiest teams will be Pittsburgh Steelers, number 1, KC, number 2, Green Bay, number 3, Carolina, number 4, and Washington, number 5. And it doesn't really matter for Carolina because they're out of the playoffs. Pittsburgh still has a shot. Green Bay still has a shot. And Washington still has a mathematical shot. And KC's already in. So those are the 5 healthiest teams going into this week's games. The least healthiest teams, number 32, the Rams, they're out, so it doesn't matter. Tennessee still has a chance. Arizona out, so it doesn't matter. Chargers in, so it doesn't matter. And New England still has a shot. So those in that order in terms of least healthiest teams, 32-28. So be forewarned when you make your picks.
That's a very weird rating considering that the biggest, one of the biggest is in that list with Tennessee with Mr. Henry not playing this week. The second one is Miami Dolphins. And
with Tua not, yeah.
Ordeal of Tua having concussion protocol when they said there was nothing, and even the independent bystander even said there was nothing there, and all of a sudden out of the blue tent, and Tua's out for the whole half, and it's like, okay, wait a second, what's going on here? And it just raises more questions of, well, now since the Miami staff got in trouble earlier in the year, are they being overprotective, and actually is it costing them their chance for the playoff spot? Because
you got to be overprotective, because remember, there's a $1 billion lawsuit that was awarded right. because of those concussion issues. So you got to, unfortunately, they got to be. And when you have Bridgewater, who's a reasonable backup quarterback to help you navigate this, you got to go with it. So, and I'm sure his family. Remember,
Tua has not said anything.
Yeah, but listen, remember the culture of the Hawaiian, Samoan family. Papa and Mama still matter, and if they say don't play, he ain't playing. It's not like he's 30. He's what, 23, 22, 21. I don't know how old he is. He's not 25. So he's still under that umbrella of parent influence, right, Joe? You know what I'm talking about. Your mom.
I do.
He's 24. He turns 25 on March 2nd.
Speak to it, Joe. You know what? If you put your foot down and your son was still 24, 25 years old, you could put your foot down. You expect your son or daughter to at least listen to you, wouldn't you?
Yes, and I do believe that, you still have a parental influence. 24, 25, I don't know, money talks too, I'm not sure. But, I'm not sure when you're speaking about, I don't know about the Somalian culture, but there could be a cultural impact too. I mean, that's a difference. There is a difference in many cultures where parents are revered in a different way. So depending upon his perception and how that plays a role in that factor, could very well be, you always hope that your children consider your opinion, even if they're 50, but 24 is still relatively young.
Yeah. And the reason I say that is because I've seen interviews with The Rock and how he revered his parents and their opinion when he was, navigating as a new young adult. They had a lot of influence on him. So I'm connecting the dots.
And my parents did too. I remember. Yeah.
Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
I was going to say, even my own parents in my early 20s, the difference here being that there was also a financial dependency, when you're in college, and you're still, even when you're newly out of college, the average person still somewhat relies on their parents. And if you have that support, here we have people with money at 24 and 25 who can probably buy and sell their parents in most instances. So I don't know. It's tough to know what that dynamic is.
Gotcha.
Getting back with that Titans ordeal real quick, they should actually be at 32 because not only is Derrick Henry not playing, Tannehill is not playing, Jeffrey Simmons is out, Pettit is out, Amani Hooker is out, Bud Dupree is out, Zach Cunningham is out, Dylan Cole is out, and Josh Thompson is also out. That is 5 more defensive guys as well as 3 offensive guys.
Yeah, they got problems. They got problems.
They have a big problem there. That is a lot of bodies.
Yeah, that's a lot of bodies. Yeah. Well, before we start with the NFL, let's talk real quick about the firing of the Denver coach and 3 other coaches right? The Colts have Jeff Saturday. He's not guaranteed that job. They have to go through the Rooney Rule, right? They have to go through the interview process. And then the Rams with their coach, the young guy, thinking, the rumor is he's thinking about going the John Rutten route, go do some TV for a while, get out of football, and then get back in. So that's the rumor. So what do you think of those three teams and what's happening with them? Let's start with Denver and them firing their coach, Joe. I know you heard about it, right?
I did hear about it. It's tough for me when they fire a coach, particularly at this point in the season. Obviously, their record is horrific, but he hasn't been a head coach for very long. I hate, any job takes time, in my opinion, and I know everybody wants to win. I don't like how it went down. I would have preferred for them to finish out the season. Obviously, they're not going to win a Super Bowl this year. What's the harm in letting them finish out the season and go out a little bit more gracefully? But I thought it was a particularly rough decision, especially Christmas week, right? I mean, it's not a great timing on their part, for sure.
Well, from my understanding, and George, you can correct me on this, the either the entire NFL or Denver itself owes fired coaches close to $800 million. That sounds more like the entire NFL collectively.
Yeah, that's the entire NFL.
So that's a lot. That's almost $1 billion they still owe coaches who are not coaching on the sidelines, right?
Yeah,
so
the Cleveland Browns are at the top of that list, by the way.
Yeah, they went through like 3 coaches in a matter of 4 or 5 years, right?
7 coaches in 9 years. Yeah, they are the ones who owe the most. Yeah,
they're on the top of that list. So
they are numero uno on that list.
So with the new owners of the Denver Broncos being the Walmart family, I got walnuts on the mind. He's not their guy, and they want to pick their own guy. Yeah. So he knows that's the way the industry is. When a new general manager comes in, usually a new general manager wants to pick his guy. Well, when an owner comes in, the owner wants to pick their guys. So he knew it going in because that's the way the industry is, and he probably saw the writing on the wall after the week 4 or 5 or 6.
It was 5 weeks ago. It was 5 weeks ago, the confrontation between Russell Wilson, Hackett, and ownership and the GM all took place in the locker room after one of the losses. And Russell was sitting there saying, I'm not being able to do what I can do. And him taking the high road today and saying, I wish I would have played better for him. That's Russell Wilson just being a proud athlete and taking the high road and saying, I should have done better. I could have done better, or I should have done better. But when the system is not the system that the quarterback fits in, which I've actually said that since about week 3, when I first saw that this doesn't look like it's going to work, it's just dragged on way too long. Unfortunately, this should have happened literally around week 7 or 8. They should not have waited this to almost literally. If you were going to go this long right now, you've only got 2 weeks left. Why bother? Why bother
exactly.
At this point? Just let it finish out the other 2 games, and then everybody knows Black Monday's coming up, and on the 9th, Black Monday is going to be, unfortunately now. I could honestly sit here and look and say, you know what? That was the only coach that was going to be gone on Black Monday. I do not see any other coach. I mean, Jeff Saturday is just a filler. It won't be Saturday going into interviews and stuff for next year. That's not going to happen. There will be a new person there. So Saturday technically doesn't count because he is just the filler.
Right. He's an interim. Interim coach.
Everybody else, I don't see anybody else moving anywhere. I believe every coach will stay lock, stock, and barrel, and especially after the big decision that was made about benching Derek Carr for the next 2 weeks by Josh McDaniels. McDaniels kind of made it no secret in camp that he wasn't real thrilled with how Carr was doing at that time and just said, okay, we brought in Devontae Adams. You should have been clicking, and for some weird reason, something's not clicking with Carr. And again, quarterback with the system, I don't know. Derek Carr has been having a lot of issues over the past 3 or 4 years. So at this point, I don't think it's a head coach. I think it's the quarterback. And
Well,
I think Raiders will be shopping for a QB in the offseason.
Derek Carr will get another starting QB job because
Washington.
He's a very good quarterback. I think what happened with Denver was that sideline blow up on TV.
Oh,
Where with the players on the sideline, the camera caught it. Remember, the eye in the sky doesn't lie; it sees everything.
mm-hmm.
And so, with that blow up on the sideline with the players, yeah, I think owners said, "Hey, enough's enough. We got to do something."
Agree.
So,
And Washington decided to bench Heineke and restart Wentz again. I just don't know what Ron Rivera is looking to.
I don't know where Riverboat Ron. I don't know what he's doing. That's crazy. Heineke just keeps getting disrespected.
Yep, I agree. And at this point, I definitely wanted to do a little research on that to see if his contract was up this year, because I think Heineke could be a starting quarterback for another team.
Oh, absolutely. No question.
100%.
All right. It's all interesting.
It is. It's scary that there's this much swirl around between coaches and quarterbacks right now. Big time. But those picks, Bodine.
Week 17, baby. Let's do it. Week 17.
Well, I thought we're not going to talk about any games, or we're just going to switch. What time is it? Yeah, we're running out of time, but I mean, I thought the Vikings game was good. Just touch on a couple quickly.
Yeah.
The Vikings game. The Raiders Steelers obviously is a tight game. The Bucks Cardinals. Those are probably the Bengals Patriots. Those were all close games that kind of had kept us on the edge of our seat for a little bit. But
our quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, who used to be the starting quarterback of Jacksonville Jaguars, did really well. He had over 350 yards passing against the Cowboys. He's a good backup quarterback, and we had a chance to win. Didn't happen. No big deal. It didn't hurt us.
It was a close game.
It was a close game. It really was. I see you with your Texas Longhorn shirt on. You ain't fooling me. And listen,
I was rooting so hard for those Eagles. You had no idea.
Well, I know you were, because Joe and I and Crispy Bacon picked Dallas. See, that goes to show you I'm not a homer. I'm picking who I think's gonna win.
And when Philly had that pick six, I said, "Yep, here's a good start."
Yep. What? The opera ain't over till the heavy lady sings. We can't say fat lady anymore. That's politically incorrect. Until the healthy lady sings. So, there's a chance, a slight chance, that all 4 teams in this division goes to the playoffs. It's still alive. So let's see what happens. The last game of the season, Dallas is playing the who is Dallas playing? Washington, and the Eagles play the Giants.
Tennessee tomorrow, Washington the next week.
So Dallas is playing the Giants here at home. That game won't matter if the Eagles beat New Orleans this coming weekend. We will clinch that bye, which means we can rest all of our starters and let some backups get some chances, which means the Giants will need that game. And then between Dallas and Washington, I think Dallas can lose to Washington because that's a rivalry game, right? And so I think all four teams really has a great shot of making it to the playoffs. But we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see it play out. And let's do a big shout out to Franco Harris, Pittsburgh Steelers legend. Rest in peace. He's also in that commercial that I was talking about. He simulated the catch in that commercial where he caught the ball when it was deflected in the air. So I thought Pittsburgh handled that halftime very well. Did you guys see that halftime for the
did.
Eagles?
Yeah, I did.
They did a great job.
They did.
Yep.
And that was planned, actually. That was already planned before Franco stopped. So,
Yeah, he was supposed to be standing there, but
All right.
Yep. Okay. So I'm gonna write I'm gonna write down what you guys call out. Is there a game tomorrow night or no?
Yes,
Yeah.
Cowboys are at the Titans.
Tomorrow night you got the Cowboys on?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Cowboys start right off the bat.
Dallas at Tennessee.
Yep. And with Tennessee having all those starters out, I will take the Cowboys in a runaway.
Me too.
That's easy, crispy bacon.
The point spread was like 8.5 before they announced it. After they announced it, the point spread went to 14.5. I was like, wow, that's a big jump.
Joe,
I'm gonna go with the Cowboys.
You're gonna go with your cohorts, okay? All right, we're all on Dallas. Excuse me. All right, who we got? What's the next game?
We got the Cardinals and the Falcons. I'm gonna go with the Cardinals.
Cardinals at the Falcons.
Yes.
I'll go Falcons.
Yeah, I'm going Falcons. That quarterback he's really
I
good.
need a quarter here. Falcons, rats.
All
Okay.
Joe, are you sticking with Arizona?
I'm gonna stick with them.
I don't think it doesn't. It's wow. It's like, ew. I hope this one's not on my local TV.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Go ahead, give me the next game.
All right, then we have the Dolphins, Patriots. The Dolphins. Well, is Tua coming? I know he's on concussion protocol
He's not
again.
playing.
He's
Yeah,
out.
but Bridgewater. Remember, Bridgewater's a very good quarterback.
He's not playing.
I'll go Patriots.
I'm gonna stick with the Dolphins.
Oh, Jekyll and Hyde. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Well, the weather's supposed to be nice. I'll go with the Dolphins. The weather's supposed to be above 50, so I'll trust Teddy and the boys.
I'm going with the Dolphins as well.
And we have the Saints, Eagles. I'm going with the Eagles.
Yeah, that's easy.
Eagles.
And we
We're all on the Eagles.
And then we have the Colts, Giants.
Oh, Giants need this game.
Yeah, I'm going with the Giants.
And it's in New York, right?
I don't know.
Yep.
Is that game in New York? Yeah.
It's
okay.
at NYG. Yep.
All right, so everybody's on the Giants.
Yeah.
And if Giants win, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They need this win. So, okay,
Then
we're all
we
on the Giants.
Okay, then we have the Panthers and the Buccaneers. So I'm going to stick with the Bucs.
Tampa.
Panthers.
Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. I gotta root for Tom. I can't do it. He needs this game. Whoever put it his way, whoever wins this game is going to win the division.
Correct.
No,
Well,
if Tampa wins, they're automatically in and win the division.
right. If Tampa wins, if they lose, Arthur.
Ugh.
If they
So who-
lose, it goes to the last week.
So who's got who? Call it out. Call it out. I know.
If
I know.
Tampa-
Joe was at Tampa.
If Tampa wins,
I have the-
they make the playoffs.
Right. I'm going with Tampa. Joe's going with
Me too.
Tampa.
I'm going Tampa.
Panthers.
All right, G. You're all alone on this one.
I was all alone on the Texans last
Right,
week
then-
too.
Yeah, it's true. Next game.
Then we have the Broncos Chiefs. I think that's
Oh.
an easy one.
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Everybody's going with the Chiefs, right? I mean, that's a
Yeah,
Yeah, that's just too easy.
yeah.
that's too easy.
I don't even know. I really don't know. Even whoever is taking over interim, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yep.
Then we have the Bears Lions. I think that's another easy one. I'm going with the Lions.
Lions.
The Lions need the win
Yes, they do.
to stay even relevant, because if Washington's out and Seattle loses, the Lions jump up into the 7 spot.
Yep.
And then the Lions, of course, play the Packers in the last week. So the Bears can be stingy, but the Lions are at home. So I'm going to go Lions.
Who you got, Crispy Bacon?
Lions.
Okay, we're all on the Lions. Because I think the Lions are going to. They fell off this week, but I think they're going to recover. Okay, next
Then we
one.
have the Browns Commanders. That's a tough
Well,
one.
with now Carson Wentz being the starting quarterback, I am 100% on Cleveland, because
Yeah,
the defense is going to win the game for that.
yeah. I'm with you. I mean, listen. Carson Wentz is a great guy, but I don't know what they're doing. I'm going for the Browns.
If
I'm
it was
going
Heineke, I would be seriously worried. But now that it's not, nope, I'm good.
Who you got, Joe?
I'm going with the Commanders.
Okay.
I'll go Commanders.
Mm.
Then we have another easy one, Jags Texans. I'm going with the Jags.
Yeah, the Texans have had their fun. I've called their 2 wins, and now, sorry. Peterson says he's not resting anybody. Good for him. Good.
We're in this. We're in the 7th position. If we win, we're absolutely in the playoffs.
Good for him.
Go from a one win last year to
now,
getting into playoffs.
Right now, they're in first. They're ahead of the Titans. They're in first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but in the
Yeah,
playoffs, they're 7th seed.
Yeah. So who's got who? Obviously, Joe picked them. I'm picking Jags. Who you got?
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. The Jags are the 4 seed, number 4.
Yeah, baby. I mean, that's a miraculous turnaround for Doug Peterson, right? You
Yep.
win one game last year with that dumpster fire of a coach who used to coach Ohio State.
Yeah, we don't like to bring him up either. So,
Right?
if
They at a nightclub dancing with people when he should be on the plane, when he should be on the plane flying back to Jacksonville with his team. What a bonehead coach is that? Come on.
Well, he did give us a lot of material last year, so.
Oh, did he not or what? We talked about that. We talked about that guy like he was a raccoon in a garbage dump.
We really did. Then we have the 49ers and the Raiders. I'm going with the 49ers.
49ers.
49ers. Yeah.
How about that? How about that quarterback? Mr. Irrelevant is now relevant.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's doing great.
His rookie
Wow.
cards have jumped up $1,800 on
What?
daily pens. Yep. Talk about a big increase.
So we're all on 49ers, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, then we have the Jets and the Seahawks.
Whew.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. That's a tough one. I'm gonna go with the Jets though.
Yeah, I don't know
I'll go
what has
Seahawks.
happened to Seattle. I have no idea what's going on with Seattle. It's not the same Geno Smith. That bye week hurt Seattle. I don't know what's happened since that bye week. But when Bryce is even sitting there going, we lost to the 49ers, I'm like, oh, yeah, you did. He's like, what's going on with my team? I said, I don't know. That's a good question. The Jets seriously need both teams need it. They're both right on the bubbles.
But isn't the Jets starting that good quarterback White again?
Hey,
Yeah.
The Jets are on that upswing, and so yeah, I'm going to ride with the Jets, even though they are going out to the West Coast. But I am still going with the Jets.
So we're all on the Jets. We're all on the Jets.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, then we have the Vikings Packers. That's probably going to be a good game, but I'm going with the Vikings.
Vikings.
Minnesota.
Hold on.
This eliminates the Packers from the playoffs.
Hold on. Vikings versus who?
The Packers.
The
Packers. For some reason, I heard Panthers. I'm like, they can't be playing two places at once. Green Bay. And who we got?
Vikings.
Vikings.
I'm going with the Vikings.
I'm going.
And the game's in Green Bay.
Yep.
Who needs it more, Green Bay or the Vikings?
The Vikings knock out the Packers out of the playoffs with this win.
Oh yeah, it's a rivalry game. I'm going with Vikings. Is Crispy Bacon on the Vikings too?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Then we have the Rams Chargers. I'm going with the Chargers.
Yeah, the
Hold on.
Chargers are,
And that's a home game for both teams, isn't it?
No, for the Chargers.
no. Yeah, I was gonna say it's in the same stadium, yes.
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of hilarious of what
It's kind of like if the Giants
fans are
did
showing
the
up.
Jets.
But the Rams are out. They're officially eliminated. So the Chargers need the win to keep pace. So I'm going with the Chargers.
So we're all on the Chargers.
Mhm.
Then we have the Steelers Ravens on Sunday night. I'm going.
Ooh, that's a rivalry game. That's a rivalry game.
No, it's the Bills. It's the Bills and it's the Bills game. I think they
I
flexed.
thought that was Monday night.
They flexed. No, they flexed one of
Okay.
these games.
No, the Steelers Ravens has been flexed to Sunday night.
Okay.
So Steelers, Pittsburgh.
Mhm.
And the Ravens at the Ravens.
I'm going with the Ravens.
And the Ravens need it to stay up in it.
I'm going Ravens too. Who you got, Bacon?
Ravens.
And if
George?
the Ravens win, the Steelers are out.
Who you got, George?
Ravens.
Okay.
And then probably is going to be one of the best games of the week on Monday. We got the Bills Bengals. I got.
Oh, absolutely. Another rivalry game. Woo,
Yeah.
woo, 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 woo.
I have to stick with the Bills. I'm really, it's really. Where is that game? Is that in Buffalo?
Cincinnati.
In
Oh,
Cincinnati.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think Buffalo's had such a traumatic week. They need something to lift their spirits, and I think Josh Allen's going to do it for them.
Cincinnati is balling though.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, Josh Allen has hosed me in fantasy for 3 straight weeks, and I think it keeps going. Cincinnati wins by 6.
Yeah, I'm picking Cincinnati.
Yeah, well,
Bodine's like, no.
I love Josh.
It'll also knock the Bills out of the number 1 spot, and the Chiefs will move up into the number 1 spot.
Listen, I love Josh Allen, but Joe Burrow is balling.
Yeah, Joe Burrow. I like Joe Burrow. I do.
He's as quiet as it's kept. That kid can quarterback. So I got to go with Cincinnati because they got home field advantage.
Yeah.
So Joe, I think this might decide who's going to win next week.
I hate to do it to you guys 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, that's our Joe. There you go, Joe. That's how you trash talk it. There you go.
Now, Bodine, you didn't tell us what are our overall stats? How close are we?
Well, I just got a Charlie horse, so right now
Oh no.
my brain is not functioning well. I will tabulate as many of the, and I have all the sheets from week 1 all the way to week 17. So I will tabulate them up and I have it ready for the last game of the season, not next week, but the following week.
Okay.
Before we start the playoffs. Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
I got to eat a banana.
It's hard to believe. All right, it's hard to believe the playoffs are right upon us, right? I mean, it still feels like yeah.
Yep.
August.
Right around the
we're
corner.
just talking about. All right, well, that's good. All
Right
right, so
around the
another
corner.
great week, and of course, Happy New Year, everyone! This is a big weekend. We're saying goodbye to 2022, and
Good riddance.
Heading into good riddance. 2023. I think everybody should embrace 2023 as the year of me. So think about yourselves going into the new year, and you can think about me too. But I say you think about yourselves. 2023 is to accept that mantra. Do something wonderful for yourselves, because we certainly appreciate you tuning in. Of course, thanks for coming on, George. I got my main man, Chris P. Bacon, who is the flu and stepped up. He's behind the scenes, even though he's sick, and we appreciate that, of course. And of course, my main squeeze, Bodine Sanders, to my lower right. So thank you, gentlemen, and I'm looking forward to start kicking off the new year with you guys again next week.
Happy New Year, everyone. Be safe out there. Stay home if you can. And bring in the new year safely if you can. And we look forward to seeing you.
And enjoy the nice weather. It's going to be a big turnaround. We're going to be in the 40s and 50s at least across the Northeast, which is a big change from what we've been experiencing. So enjoy that, everybody. Get some fresh air, and drink responsibly if you're out there enjoying
the festivities.
Yeah.
Right. We've done our public service announcements.
Yes, adult beverages.